Hello everyone and welcome to QualityOldGames. Today we are having another How Good Is video, and this time we are doing it in Rome TotalWar. And this is kind of a test video, perhaps first out of 3, so you can give feedback about how those opponents should be, or what type of units they should have, and how many of them they should have. So the idea of this test is that it focuses on campaign setting. So the battle difficulty will be very hard, and also the scoring system will be more granular. So the units have a possibility of 100 points from each battle and from requirements. And I think also regarding the costs, the upkeep will be valued more than the actual recruitment costs. If we assume that the unit lifetime is on average, say, 10 turns in the game. So practically that would mean that it will be quite a bit more significant than the recruitment cost. And this is going to be the against Horde battle, so basically against 12 Eastern Infantries. And it seems Principes are doing rather well, even on very hard difficulty. So practically one of the flanks has been broken entirely. And I doubt that the other flank will last too long either. And you might ask, why not Medieval 2 TotalWar? Why to stop it? Well, it's not actually stop, but it's on pause. So basically, in scoring from victory, the unit obtains 50 points, and then the remainder is determined how many men there are remaining. And as you can see, there is quite a majority of men remaining, so Principes from this battle will score 97 out of 100. So this battle result over here doesn't affect anything anymore in this case. So, because we don't really know how it's clearly determined, and thus it's not granular enough, and so on and so forth. So men remaining will be the key factor in here. In the second battle, the units tested will be facing 3 urban cohorts. And actually none of the units in this series, the enemy units, don't have any upgrades. So it's only the basic variants. And we have 6 different battles in here. First is against Horde, the second is against Elite, so this. The third is against Cavalry, meaning 2 against 2 Equites and 2 Legionary Cavalries. The fourth is against Missile units, featuring 3 Archer Auxilia and 3 Velites. Fifth will be against Missile Cavalry, featuring 4 Horse Archers, and fifth will be against Army, featuring 1 Urban Cohort, and 1 Legionary Cavalry, 3 Town Watches, 1 Roman Archers. Oh, they're actually beating Urban Cohorts here. Well, that's rather impressive. Yeah, chase them down. I mean, rather impressive. On a very hard difficulty, they managed to rout one of those Urbans. And I guess we need to charge those guys. So perhaps the different tests are not entirely equal, so some of them will be a bit easier than the others, and the reasoning behind that is that we want to have some diversity in the results. If we are testing, say, Roman peasants and barbarian peasants, we don't want them to have equal scoring. And at the same time, we want to have some differences also between, say, urban cohorts, bull warriors, Spartan hoplites, etc., etc. So basically, we want to have the results differing from each other, so we can a bit better determine what's actually the better unit. And here from the losses, the key factor will be how many enemies there are remaining, because I think this will be a loss, no matter what.
Your gallant general has fallen and caused his troops much heartache.
And about that Medieval 2 Total War, why to put it on pause? The reason is that recently we have made videos with Anka in original Rome, in Medieval 2, and also in Rome Remastered. And from our algorithm, that seems to be a bit too much. So I want to focus on one game only, at least for now, to see if that kind of supports the channel. We are not going to abandon Medieval 2 Total War completely, so I think there will be a switch of game at the end of the year latest. And perhaps we will switch during the summer or autumn to Rome Remastered or focus on Barbarian Invasion, but at least for several months all of the content will be focusing on Rome, original Rome Total War. So here we see we have 339 enemies remaining. So, from the previous battle, the Principes got 15 out of 100 points in total. So the Urbans did do quite well after all. But let's see what happens against Cavalry. And of course, this is, even though it's very hard difficulty, it's always AI controlled. So it seems they are willing to eat one volley of Pila. Or maybe more. And then they are thwerping around. Oh! Actually, one unit is breaking. That's interesting. It seems the legionary cavalry is no joke, even from the front. Okay. I have to say, this went surprisingly badly from the Principes, at least in my opinion. So they have quite a few men remaining. So that's only 12 points out of 100. Kind of makes sense as, well, Rome fares rather well against infantry. So let's see if loose formation will help us a bit. That's going to be quite a lot of missiles, especially on very hard difficulty. Okay, it seems we caught one. And I doubt they will be coming back. So I think we can speed up things a bit. Okay, they are coming actually back.
The enemy general flees. gods be praised! The enemy general is dead! His men know their doom approaches!
Okay, and this is reminding me a bit of the similar test in Medieval 2. Okay, and that's it.
All Rome will be amazed at such a victory! The day is ours!
So now the question is, should the missile units have some kind of infantry screen to protect them? Say 3 town watches or something else? Because now, well, it was rather easy even with heavy infantry. Then again, if we have some units vulnerable to missile, then things might be different, but feel free to comment this battle as well as others. So basically 91 out of 100 points from versus missiles. And I guess this is going to be the most annoying battle of all of these. Because, well, basically we just have to stand under fire until they run out of missiles. Of course, if they come to pillar range, I don't begrudge that. But yeah, the enemy army here is by far the cheapest, but as you can see, it doesn't seem to make too much of a difference.
Your general's nerve has broken, and he is fleeing from the
So
enemy!
from this, the Principes get only
This is a
6
terrible day.
points out of 100. It seems that the battle mechanics of Rome Total War are such that the kind of the extremes come forward quite a bit. Then the final battle against army. So 3 town watches, 1 legionary cavalry. Oh, perhaps I should have used the guard mode against those cavalry units. I think that's actually, yeah. Well, that's on me. But, well, I don't think these will be the kind of official results over here. So there will be another chance for Principes. This is more to demonstrate how things work, how the scoring work, and so on and so forth. Perhaps we should conserve some of the pillar for those urban cohorts. Okay. Uh-oh. That's going to hurt. And then we have this cavalry auxilia still here. So basically, the battle against the front line went pretty much as one could expect against town watch. At the same time, the urbans and the cavalry are being quite annoying, and it seems they are even charging our rear with cavalry auxilia, which is I don't know, perhaps that was actually a rather good move from the AI. And of course, one kind of problem I see with the new scoring system is that the kill of one model from urban cohort counts the same as killing one town watch model over there. So basically, it's easier to get points from taking down the town watches than taking down the urban cohort. But I think that will be the same for every unit to be tested, so perhaps the effect won't be that great. And this is going to be was the final battle. So the score for Principes from against army battle is 19 out of 100. And overall the score from battles is 241 out of 600, which sounds a bit small. But at the same time, this is against very hard AI, so the bonuses it gets are rather massive. So this kind of, I think the Principes are kind of the somewhere in the middle of the units of Rome Total War. So this kind of forms a base to which to compare other units. And then let's see about the requirements next. So, about the requirements. So the cost of one unit of Principes is 490. So that would mean 41 points. The maximum being 50. And from upkeep the maximum is 150 because the upkeep seems to be more important thing if we consider that the average lifetime of a unit is, say, 10 turns. And the score is gotten directly by dividing the unit cost by the cost of the most expensive unit in the game, namely armored war elephants or armored elephants, and the cost there is 2,780. So of course this means that most of the units will be getting rather high score from the costs, and in my opinion, that's a bit problematic. Of course, it's a rather simple formula to calculate it. Of course, we could make something like more exponential thing over there, but perhaps that would be a bit more difficult to grasp. And of course, we could also set the upper limit for unit cost, after which they just get 0 from there. So if we put the upper limit to, say, 1500, then the unit would get a score of 34 from this case. So I guess that could be more reasonable, but feel free to comment that as well. What do you think would be most reasonable? And then the upkeep, the unit gets 107 points, so the upkeep is 170 per turn, for 10 turns, 1700, and once again the comparison point is the most expensive upkeep of the units, namely armored elephants, and that's 5900. And once again, perhaps the scoring will be a bit too much on the upper end of the scaling, but once again, perhaps we could put a maximum limit, say 3000 here, and thus the Principes score would drop to 65 out of 150. But once again, let's discuss that. Then requirements. So basically, it's the city or building tier. And as Principes do require tier 3 barracks, it's going to be 50. Of course, there might be some special situations. For example, Praetorian Cohort, that does not require a specific unit building. So perhaps it should get a bit higher score than that. And of course, then there are Spartan hoplites that do have some additional requirements, and that could kind of bring down the overall score, and the maximum is 100 points. Then we have building time, basically 0, 50 or 100 based on how many turns the unit takes to train, from 1 to 3, and for Principes that of course is 1 turn and 100 points. So thus from requirements Principes get 296 out of 400, and thus the total score for the unit would be 537 out of 1000. And that could kind of form the baseline against which to compare other units in a similar test. So, this is the kind of test episode, first of perhaps 2 or 3. So, every feedback, comment about the test, about the scoring, how the tests are conducted will be very welcome. For example, if we take some units that get bonuses in desert, perhaps we should switch for desert environment for a test or 2, or perhaps we should do all of the tests so that, for example, against Horde will be fought in the desert, or against missile units will be fought in the forest, though I hate fighting in forest because I can't see anything over there. But yeah, every idea is welcome, and let's see what kind of tests we can make this, and hopefully it will be enlightening and very useful. But this is everything for today, so thank you very much for watching. If you like the content, please leave a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Feel free to post comments, give advice, ask questions and so on. And if you want to support the channel, consider becoming a channel member. And very special thanks to existing channel members Napoleon Complex, Cossack Hussar, Mark Anthony. Your support is greatly treasured. Have a great rest of the day. QualityOldGames out.